Hi all my friends. In this video I'm going to go over using internet hotspots and external antennas. I realized that I had accidentally erased my intro to this video I wanted to do. So it actually turned out better this way because I have learned so much since I started making these clips. Okay, so these clips are about my external antenna, and I use a Yagi antenna system with coax and all that, and then to a hotspot. But you can have a really nice external antenna system, but if you don't have a good hotspot system, it isn't really going to do you a whole world of good, actually good carrier, okay? With that hotspot, it isn't going to do you very good, and I'll share what I've learned since making these clips. But I want to release these clips, of my antenna system first and go from there, and then at the end we'll talk about carriers and hotspots and what I have learned since these clips. So yeah, I'm kind of glad it worked out this way because we're all going to learn a lot of stuff together, okay? So first let's take a peek at my type of antenna system that I use and how I connect it to my van and everything, and go from there, okay? So enjoy these clips of my Yagi external antenna system. Alright, so there is my Yeti directional antenna, and it is just mounted on a what they call a window washers pole. It's not in the painter's pole section, it's where the window washing and everything is that I found this one. And it is goes up to 16 feet tall, but I only open it up to about maybe 12, never more than 14 feet, but probably about 12 feet on an average. And my van is about 9 feet tall, okay? And what I like about this one is it's in 3 sections, okay? So that's your main section, and then there's the middle section, so that one, oops, sorry, I just stepped in a hole. So this goes down into here, and then the top part, as you can see, all collapses down. So it all just, this is telescoping, so it kind of just shrinks all down. And it's only about 5 feet tall once it's all collapsed down. So it fits very nicely inside of my bay storage there all across the back of my van. So that's one of the reasons why I liked it, because of how much it shrinks down, okay? And the brackets that comes with the Yeti, you can see, hold on, I got the sun in my eyes. Okay, so that's basically how it's secured around the top, okay? And then the next thing is I'm using NRS straps, and I secure it to my mirror with the NRS straps. And these are really sturdy, strong straps that you can get online, and they come in different feet. So there'll be a dash number, so this is like a -2, and then I have a -3 put, so these two put together. Normally, sometimes I'm just fine with the 3, but when I'm in like really stormy, windy kind of weather, and I know I'm going to be that way, I just really secure it extra tight. You can hook them together or just buy the longer straps. I think eventually I am going to invest into a like a 5-foot strap, because I don't have one. I have a 1, a 2, and a 3. So the different feet, again, is by the dash number. So that's a 3 and that's a 2. Okay, but they're very sturdy, strong straps. They're great to secure things with them. I talked about them with my sun cell that I ended up getting and how I connect that to my van, okay? And the next thing at the bottom is you want to make sure that you secure the bottom very, very well. I would not use little flimsy little tent stakes. These are like nail stakes. You can buy them at any hardware store. And I've got the really extra long one so you can really drive it down into the ground, okay? So at least about halfway of this, okay? And then just get any kind of strong twisty or, you know, another NRS strap, maybe a 1, or, you know, this is fine. I've used this. It wraps around a couple of times and then I twist it. Or any type of really heavy-duty Velcro type straps that I have that wrap around several times. But, you know, just use your judgment. You just want to make sure that it's very secure and that it holds the bottom, keeps it from flipping out or something if it's extra windy, okay? Just secure the extra cable around my mirror and then just secure it with, again, a little like a Velcro strap or something. And I just tuck it up around the mirror. Okay, and then I just feed it through my window. And then I just keep my hotspot right up there. So I can always plug it in. It's on the side of the wall or my van where the plug-in is, where I can plug in my USB, and which is connected to my batteries. Okay, so I can always keep it charged. So that's kind of its home right now. So here's a close-up of the Yeti directional antenna, and then this is the bracket that was around the window washing pole, which was right in between here. I clamp it on, okay, and then this is the cable that you connect to your coax, and then I'll show you a close-up of the coax. So this is the coax cable that goes to my directional antenna, and I don't remember how long it is. Maybe it's 10 feet, something like that, around there, plus or minus. And you want to make sure, so this one here, see, it has the male end, and then the female end is on the directional antenna. But the most important part here is this little guy here. This is, I call a little pigtail, but a little adapter. And see how it goes to a MiFi. You want to make sure that you don't get one that goes to a TV antenna, because you'll see where it says that this is for a TV antenna, not a MiFi. So you are looking for the one that goes to that, and it'll say it in the description what it's used for. So you want to pay close attention to that if you get this and order something like this for your MiFi setup, okay, for an external directional antenna. Okay, so there is a big controversy over a yagi directional, or kind of like an omni style. It's kind of round, and it will, you know, pull in whatever current or frequency, I should say, that's out there to the antenna. I like the directional. I kind of would like to have both. I think it won't hurt to have both eventually, but right now I'm fine with the directional. I just think that it's gonna, I can actually look on my hotspot and find that strong current and pinpoint it exactly at that spot, is why I like it. So, you know, again, there's such a controversy over which one is going to work out the best. But I think in the remote areas that I go to, I really like, you know, pinpointing, because I can see my signal on my screen here. I'm pinpointing that strong signal and zero in on it, and know that I've got it in exactly that direction that I need to pick up that strong, you know, frequency. Okay, so that's why I use the Yagi directional. And then the one thing I've learned is you can have the best even antenna system out there, but if you don't have a good carrier and you don't have a good hotspot, it ain't going to do you a whole lot of good out there. That's what I learned on the road between Kent and I. In the past year, we both used Yagi antennas, but he had AT&T, I have Verizon. So I found that he had much faster speeds with his AT&T than I had with my Verizon. Another thing too with the Verizon, I was struggling constantly with going through my data quickly. I discussed this with them over and over and over again, and I started finding out that every time I turned this on, even when I wasn't even using it, that my data was adding up. And I noticed this, you know, more when I was becoming more aware and mindful that what the heck, how am I going through so much data? And I actually took pictures of it and everything, and I called them up and I tried to discuss what's going on, because I'm not even having any of my devices connect to it, and it kept adding up 3 gigabytes, 3 gigabytes, 2 gigabytes. We're not even being connected to it. Like, why is this happening? And I couldn't get an answer from them. So they just said that everything was correct and my data usage, and I said, no, it's not correct. And when I'm not even connected to it, and every time I turn it on, just because I started getting suspicious of what was going on with it, I couldn't even get them to talk with me and work with me, which became very frustrating for me. So I don't know what's going on, but if you do have Verizon or a hotspot, I suggest you just kind of be aware of that and try to research that on your own, because yeah, I just found that this is not right. And then they start throttling you and slowing your speeds down for data that I don't know where it was coming from. Then they thought maybe it was combined total, which I'm not supposed to have a combined total. So my thing was showing 16 gigabytes, and they said, well, yeah, we show that you use 12. And I said, okay, then where's the 12 to 16? And they said, well, maybe it's a combined total. And I said, well, it shouldn't be a combined total, because every one of my devices had its own hotspot amount, you know, where this was supposed to be 15, my phone was supposed to be 15, I have another phone that's supposed to have a 15, so I have a Samsung and an iPhone. Nowhere in there when I'm hotspotting or anything is it supposed to show a combined total. So they never did get back to me with an answer on why I kept adding up, and in the end, still not using it. I went from 16 to the next day a 19 gigabyte with everything shut off, not even using the device. And I called back, and they actually texted me going, well, has your situation been resolved? And I said, well, no. Now I actually went from 16 to 19 gigabytes with none of my devices even being connected to it. Why is it continuing to add up? They could not give me an answer, and I'm constantly being slowed down, throttled. I can't get videos uploaded. It was taking me hours and hours, like a whole day, just to get a very small 10-minute video uploaded. When I would go over to Kent and get attached to his AT&T, hotspotted to him, and I could get that video up in like 30 minutes time, maybe maximum an hour, depending on how long the video was, when it was taking me a whole day, half a day to get that video uploaded. It was ridiculous what I was going through. And yeah, and trying to get caught up with my friends' videos and streaming, I was throttled. So that made it hard keeping up with my friends' YouTube videos and even my own. And so I just said, I have to be done with this. So I have now gone through, I have AT&T now Hotspot, because they really do have faster speeds. Verizon, I'm not sure. I heard they have more towers, but it doesn't do you any good out there if they have horrible speeds, okay? And that's what's happening, is horrible speeds with them if there is a tower. Where Kent, and we've been through, remember, Arizona, Utah, and oh my gosh, this was horrible through Utah, and where he definitely had much better connections with his AT&T. I think he said the one place in all of his travels that he might have struggled the most was through New Mexico, where I think Verizon might have had them a little bit more beat there. But otherwise, really, the speeds, and AT&T is doing a phenomenal job. Speeds are faster. They are a little bit more expensive, though, so keep that in mind. If you go in, there is no unlimited plan with them anymore. Kent is grandfathered in, but if you've got one, don't ever let it go, because you will never see unlimited with AT&T probably again, or probably for a very long time. But so they have, you know, more of your 20 gigabyte plans and 10 or 15 and whatever stuff like that, and you pay a large amount for it, and then you're throttled after that. But even then, your throttling could be if you're on a congested network tower. So if you're out in the boonies more, you're less likely to be throttled because you're not on a congested tower, where Verizon is throttling people, and it doesn't matter if you're on a congested tower or not. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future between the difference of, you know, or what AT&T may do later on. I just know that right now, as of today, in the last year on the road, all I can say is that AT&T definitely did have Verizon beat in, yeah, and not throttling and having faster speeds. And so for that reason, I am going with AT&T, and yeah, and just gonna do it. I think it's probably even worth the extra money if you can do it, because, you know, it doesn't do any good to pay cheaper fees when you can't use their devices, you know, or their services. What good is it? It's wasted money anyways. And I found I was so frustrated, as you guys all heard this past, you know, I don't know what to do. I can't get online. I was so just so I was gonna say freaking, you know, freaking out over and frustrated because I couldn't use, you know, my you know, Verizon. It was just very frustrating. Yeah, so anyway, so that's kind of what I learned. And so if you have good carrier, you know, with your antenna system, then, you know, you'll be set. And I noticed that with Kent, you know, versus me. So anyways, I'm hoping that this next, you know, journey on the road, as I come up in the springtime, to be in a better situation, since we finally could evenly compare the two biggest, you know, carriers out there, because we were evenly between Hotspots and our Yagi antennas, and we finally could compare. You know, when my first year out on the road, he had his AT&T with a Yagi, and all I had was just my AT&T phone. I had no hotspot. So the second year on the road, we finally could compare because I had a Verizon and a Yagi to his AT&T with a Yagi. So it was like, before it was like apples to oranges, where now we could, compare apples to apples. Okay. So anyways, that's kind of what I've learned. I just wanted to share that for anybody, who's going out on the road and looking at carriers, what you're going to want to do. And also one last tip, when you do look for a hotspot, you want to make sure that you look for one that has an external port to it. See that external port? That's how you can attach your external antenna to it. This one has it too, but like I said, it didn't do me any good because, there it is, because poor service. But anyways, you do want to make sure that you're looking for a hotspot with an external antenna port, okay? And then with a good service, you'll be dialed in, okay? All right, well, that's my spiel on what I have learned about, antennas and carriers and stuff like that. And I'd be interested if anybody has any input, what you have discovered on the road, or, if you feel you have been throttled a lot. Start writing down. Be mindful, right? I mean, I started questioning them and Verizon, and I'm glad I did, because I caught some strange things happening, and other friends are being mindful of it now, and they're noticing some strange things happening with Verizon's data. So I don't know what's going on. I have no answers about that yet. But anyways, I do know one other person that does have a, that went from AT&T, or I watched their video, and then they went over to Verizon, and they noticed they had far faster speeds when they had AT&T. And now that they have Verizon, I think they really regret doing that switch, because now if they went back to AT&T, they don't have that unlimited anymore, and you're capped out at a certain gigabyte that you pay for, and may be throttled. So you could be throttled. So I know they probably regret letting it go. So yeah, I would never, if you have AT&T, don't ever let it go. Just, yeah. So anyways, they noticed that big difference between the speeds and everything between the two carriers out there. All right. Well, anyways, I just thought I would share. I'm, really hopeful that I'll have a better spring and this coming summer and everything when I get back on the road, to have a much better experience out there. All right. So I hope you found this to be helpful. And I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video.